So let's get into networking a little bit. But first, let's get into a couple of different pieces of background information about VirtualBox and networking. VirtualBox has its own networking engine, which kind of includes a virtual router and a switch that'll manage the various network operations and really options that you're going to be assigning to your virtual machines as you start using VirtualBox more and more. You can configure the VirtualBox networks at the host level. So in terms of setting up virtual networks and different NAT networks, that is an option for you. We're not going to be diving into that too much, but what we're really going to be focusing on is creating unique setups for each individual machine to fit our use cases. There may be some times where you want to create a virtual machine that's just going to be a one-to-one. You just want to attack it from a virtual machine or another virtual machine, or attack it from your host. That's totally fine. But there may be other cases where you want to place a machine within an isolated subnet that can only be reached through a jump box or some kind of bastion. In that case, we're also going to be covering how to set up an internal network as well. I do want to quickly add that this table that you're seeing on the screen is available through VirtualBox's own manual, and it does have a really good breakdown in terms of the different modes that you're generally going to be using with VirtualBox and how they impact different kinds of communication. So for example, if you look at the first line, if you choose a host-only mode, you can have communication between the virtual machine and the host to virtual machine, different VMs to different VMs, but you can't really have virtual machine to the local network, for example. So these are all things we're going to be talking through in the next couple lectures. We're going to be covering the different options and kind of how they are supposed to work, and then we're going to be demonstrating them as well. And afterwards, talking about the bigger ideas, how you should be implementing these if you were to build your own lab, or if you just want to set up simple boxes to try and test your skills against. Speaking of options, we're just going to rattle through these, but the main options that you're going to see when you pull down the drop down within a virtual machine itself are NAT, your network address translation. You have a bridged networking option, internal networking option, host only adapter, generic driver, a NAT network, which is similar to a NAT option, but we're going to get into why that's different in a little bit, as well as a cloud network. But there's really only going to be 4 of these, like I mentioned, that we're going to be focusing on. These are the most common that I have use cases for, whereas the other ones I don't really use so much because I'm generally spinning up environments and tearing them down so quickly. I'm not building infrastructure, and I assume if you're listening to these lectures, you're not going to be doing the same either. So let's get into our first option, which is going to be NAT. VirtualBox itself is going to make use of network address translation. Essentially, your box's traffic on your host machine is going to be translated, quote unquote, through your host. So whenever your virtual machine wants to reach out to Google, it's just going to pass through your host machine, and your network that you're on, your physical network, is not going to know the difference. You can see the graph on the left. Traffic kind of goes through the VirtualBox magic and passes through your host and then onto your router. So it doesn't really know the difference. This by far is the easiest to get set up with. The only downside is that it's a little bit harder to find where this machine is located unless you set up port forwarding, which is something you can do, but it does kind of get annoying when you start wanting to add more and more ports as you build your lab out. Next, you have NAT network. NAT network is very similar to NAT, but in my experience, the NAT networking aspect is that you can create a NAT network. VirtualBox does have one that's already built in for you, and you can add more as you go. But you can add multiple machines to one NAT network, and not only does it translate your traffic through your host, but this also allows for VM to VM communication, which is really easy and nice to do. Again, you have to set up port forwarding if you want to have your host communicating with your guest machines. That is an option, but this is good in case you want to have your machines communicating just with each other in a simple and clean fashion. A bridge network. This is probably the most common setting that I make use of on a day-to-day basis. A bridge network essentially is when your guest machine is going to use one of your host machine's network interfaces. So let's say you have a desktop or a MacBook and it's got a wireless card in it, and you set a virtual machine to bridge mode. That virtual machine is going to make use of your computer's wireless card, and it's actually going to pop up in your home network. So this is a super easy way for you to manage your virtual machines as they're coming up if you're using bridged mode. I use this all the time because I'm able to log into my router quite frequently. I'm able to see when a machine spins up what IP it's been assigned. And if I'm having communication issues, I can diagnose it at the network level as opposed to doing it all on my host machine. I can also set up port forwarding rules to expose different ports and different services to different parts of my own network. And it just makes things a lot easier for me when I'm setting up labs and I just want to know where is this machine located, how can I find it, as opposed to just trying to guess from the host and set up all these different kind of port forwarding rules. Last but not least, we have an internal network. The internal network is a little bit trickier. It creates a unique and internal subnet just for your machines. You do have to create a DHCP server using the VirtualBox command line, which is not hard to do. It's really just a one-line command. After that, once you have that DHCP server set up, you can just assign it to your different virtual machines and it'll place them all on the same virtual network. This is really good for guest-to-guest kinds of communication if you have a cluster of machines that need to work together with each other. Or you have a lab that you want to simulate testing against a bastion, you can have a virtual machine that has dual network interfaces, one to the public and one that goes private. But again, just be aware that if you are in need of updating your machines, they won't be able to reach the internet unless you change the networking options on them. And just for reference, this is the command that you can use. I'll leave a link to the reference of where I found it, so I give the author credit. But you just do vboxmanage, dhcpserver add. The net name, in this case, you can just call it hackerlab, and then you establish your IP, your netmask, and enable it. After that, you just assign it to your virtual machine, and it's super simple, but we're going to get into those in a couple of minutes.